evening.
Hi.
How did you begin your military career, and how did you end up organising an air show?
Oh, I began my military career about 47 years ago. I joined when I was a boy, initially as a technician. I was a technician for several years. Eventually I became airman aircrew to fly Nimrods. And after flying Nimrods for a little while, I decided to go for a commission. I got commissioned into got a Royal Air Force commission. Then flew Victor tankers and various other jobs, officer training school and various other things. And eventually I left the Air Force. But before I left, I used to work here at Waddington, and I used to help at the air show. One of my duties was running the car parks. And when I was about to leave, they said, you know, were I interested, because of my aircrew background, was I interested in looking at the flying, doing the flying job? And I thought about it and thought, yeah, I'll do that. So that's how I got here.
I see. And I believe you were one of the people who were refuelling the Vulcan in the Victor tankers in the Falklands War.
I was one of the people. Yes, I was in the tanker that was refueling the Vulcan that went to Brazil because the refueling didn't go right. Yes.
How long does it take to organise an event of this kind?
365 days. So when the air show starts on Monday, we start again.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't realise.
Well, we put this show to bed, we write the letters, we tidy everything up, but as soon as that's over,
you start
all the planning
next
starts
year's
again.
one. And how many planes, how many pilots, how many ground crew roughly are involved?
Off the top of my head, we started off with about 220 aeroplanes. In the last 2 weeks, about 40 of the smaller static aircraft cancelled for one reason or another. So I guess that leaves us with about 180 aeroplanes. How many people? Okay, probably around 250 air crew, ground crew, probably 3 times that.
And presumably all the cadets and young people like that are all volunteers?
Yes, we get the air training corps, and they come along and they volunteer to do the picking up the rubbish, selling programs, all manner of jobs.
Okay. Obviously the show has to run strictly to time. If something goes wrong or if there's a problem, what do you do?
It does go, or we do try and get it to go strictly to time, and if something goes wrong, we improvise. And we'll just switch slots, precisely what we've been doing for the past 2 days with the weather and stuff going wrong.
What they're going to do, all planned out. But if you're a solo pilot,
no, that's all planned
even
out.
That's planned. They can't make it up or do a spur of the moment
we don't
decision.
accept. Every pilot who displays here will send us his display routine. That'll be vetted by our Flying Display Control Committee. They're by a team of about 12 people with various skills, mostly pilots, and they'll look at it. And if they have any doubts about the safety of any of the events, then it will be we will contact the pilot and we'll discuss it. We've got fault lines along the airfield over which they can't cross, depending on their speed and everything else. And we've got people monitoring the air show all the time from various vantage points. And we have a system where if we see something wrong that we see dangerous, we'll stop it instantly and get the pilot on the ground. So we keep a pretty close eye. So all the routines are pre-practiced and we watch them beforehand.
Okay, so there's no time for spur of the moment ideas?
Absolutely no spur of the moment flying at all.
Okay. What kind of problems have you encountered organising the show this year or previous years?
Weather. Weather is our big problem. We had heavy rain yesterday morning. It caused the cancellation of some aeroplanes. The RAF Falcons were due to jump, the paratroopers were due to jump at 10:30. Their aeroplane broke, so they came a bit later, but the weather caused problems with that. The weather is our biggest problem. 2 problems, weather and aircraft becoming unserviceable. And that's it, those are the 2 problems.
If aircraft become unserviceable, do you have substitute aircraft on standby?
Most of the display teams have a spare aircraft.
But presumably things like the Vulcan.
Well, not unique aircraft like the Vulcan.
But things like the Red Arrows or the Spanish display team.
They won't have a spare aircraft, but they will display. They'll have a formula whereby they will display with 6 aircraft or 5. In fact, if you notice, we've just been watching the Red Arrows. You may not have noticed that one of them went home early.
Oh.
He hit a bird, broke away, and went back and landed in the space. Now, their skills are such that they can just carry on, and you wouldn't even notice. In fact, you didn't even notice.
And what happens if they're flying so close together? Presumably they've got it all sorted out. But if they hit a bird and somebody moves slightly out of sync,
nobody moves slightly out of sync. If they hit a bird, they have a contingency plan, and if something goes wrong, they have a manoeuvre which will take them out of the formation, and that's what they do.
And the other one went off home, and the rest of them carry on with their show.
And nobody noticed.
And it doesn't do, it's not dangerous of any kind if a bird
Well,
hits a
no
plane.
more dangerous than crossing a road, really. If there isn't a bus coming, you're okay. If there's a bus coming, you could get killed.
Yes, I suppose, if you look at it like that. Now you've thrown me, I've forgotten my other question. Do you have any other questions?
Okay.
Okay.
We spent the last 2 days doing exactly what we have a contingency plan for. Aeroplanes have fallen out of the system. We brought them forward. We moved other ones forward this afternoon, for example. Just before we were due to have the 40-minute roll demonstration, the weather came in, low cloud, which put them outside their limits. So we used the Chinook, which was actually part of the roll demonstration. We called him up on the radio because we knew he was ready to go. We said, look, he was due to display an hour later. So we said, look, are you ready to display now? And if you are ready to display now, will you have enough fuel to land and go straight into the roll demonstration? So he said, yes, I'll just throw my troops out. He had about 20 troops in the back, which you saw jumping up.
Oh, yeah.
He threw them off, took off, did his
That
display.
wasn't supposed to have been part of the display then? Or the
No, that was part of the roll demonstration.
Ah.
He threw his troops off, where you wouldn't see them. He then came up, did his solo display, landed back, picked his troops up, and then rejoined the roll demonstration. So that's what we do. The Mirage, his aeroplane broke just as he was crewing in. He went and got another airplane, which delayed him 10 minutes, so we just moved him into another slot, and that's just how we do it.
Okay. And if a pilot gets sick at the last minute, do they
there's
have
no-
standby pilots?
There's
or
no answer for that.
they
No,
don't
the
have spare
the pilots are specially qualified, and they're authorised, and nobody else can do that particular sortie. They are specially trained for that year. They have what they call a display licence for 1 year,
Okay.
and during that year they do lots of displays, and if they go sick, that's it.
Okay, so the Red Arrow team will only have their 9 pilots, and if one of them is sick, they'll
Yeah.
fly their 8-plane routine or their
No.
7-plane
Yeah,
routine.
but they do
or
actually have
whatever.
10 pilots,
Ah.
but they fly 9. The 10th pilot was the chap you interviewed. He's their commentator, but I don't know how well. I don't know them that well, but I think if one of the pilots goes down, I think this guy is qualified to jump in.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for your
You're very
time. I
welcome.
can imagine it's a very busy day for you, so we'll let you get back to it.
Thank you
very
very
much.
much. Goodbye.
Tapland, organiser of RAF Waddington Air Show. Thank you.